Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Again, Don Getling and Gino Fronti want to thank you for joining us every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHS. For over 5.5 years, we've been able to guide you to personal and financial wellness by sharing with you some of the best professionals we can find in all of Santa Cruz, and we love doing that. And we have one of the best and one of our good friends, somebody we trust with our own insurance policies, and we just dig on this dude. He's a good dude, and it's nice to work with people you like. It makes a big difference.
Super important. Again, you said it's people you trust, people that are accountable. You know you're going to get the right answer. You might not want to be the answer you want to hear, but you'll get the right answer.
There you go. So we're here with Carlos Villalobos, Carlos Villalobos Insurance, 40-year veteran in the industry, just one good guy that knows his info and comes on our show and shares his information with us. And again, today, great information as always. We always learn something, Carlos.
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm always learning, so it's always good.
I like that, but you're like us. We never stop learning. I mean, our industry changes. I know yours doesn't change ever, does it?
Every 6 months.
Exactly.
I mean, with all the new guidelines, with all the different things with the Department of Insurance, it's continuously changing.
All right, so we have two topics you have to learn about, because if it isn't for you, it's going to be somebody you know. Somebody who either owns a business or has somebody that's working in their home. So basically, we need to go over something that you brought up I didn't even think about, because I have people that come to my home. I know Gino does, whether it's your gardener or a painter or something like that. Whether it's you having a nanny that takes care of your kids or a full-time caregiver for your parents, whatever it is, you realize you're liable, aren't they?
You are. A lot of policies out there, some of them have workers' compensation built into them. Some of them don't. They have a limit. If it's over 20 hours, you better get another rider, in-servant. So you really need to look at your policies, look at your situation, because everybody's different. You might have a full-time babysitter that works 8 hours a day. Well, then you have to get an endorsement added on to make sure if they get hurt while picking up the kids from school, lifting them to put them in the chair. You just have to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I can tell you from looking at condo lawsuits all the time, because that's what I end up looking at a bunch of times as a lender. We're always looking at condo lawsuits, and most of them are slip and falls. So it doesn't have to be something catastrophic. I mean, you're talking about a little water on the floor, and whoop, there you go, lawsuit.
Right. And then, because maybe the sink was broken and she told you to fix it, but you were going to get around to it. And she's, it happens. I mean, and that's when the homeowner is liable is because they were aware of a situation that they should have fixed, but they just didn't get around to it.
Well, and what's nice is, when you find out about these things, because you really want to protect yourself, because you don't know how important it is until you need it. But you were talking about, they can get possibly work comp endorsements or riders basically for as little as $200 to $400 a year.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's not a lot if you think about it, especially if you have somebody, I'm thinking for my gardeners, probably even less for the out service, I think you called it. For the in-service, the ones that are 20 hours or more, I mean, you have to.
Yeah,
you almost have to.
You just have to talk to your insurance agent, or better yet, call me at 255-8282. I'll be happy to go over your policy. One of the things that we like doing is when somebody calls in for a quote, we always ask them for a copy of their declaration page. Mm-hmm. And if they don't want to provide that to us, then that's a sign right away that they're just looking at the price, and that's not what we're about. We want to see what you have. Can't tell you how many times we look at a policy and it says personal injury, 0. Deductible, 500. So right away we know that personal injury is something that you need on your policy. Mm-hmm. Increase your deductible to 1,000 instead of that 500, and you're going to be paying less to the insurance company, and you're better protected. So what we want to do is always look at what they have and suggest things that they need or may not be aware of.
Yeah, depending on everybody's needs as well. Like, some people have jewelry, some people don't. Some people have that,
Some people don't know it's not covered,
And that jewelry is a funny thing to cover.
Carlos had to ask me, he goes, do you have any jewelry you need covered? Because it isn't certain policies, it isn't automatically covered.
No, and then you have to
not for the amount you want covered.
Well, that's the thing, too. You got to do the math, right? So I've got upgrades on my car, right? So the question always comes up is like, well, do you want your upgrades insured? And it's like, well, how much is that going to cost? And it's like, whoa. Wow, that's what it costs to, get the upgrades covered? No, it probably doesn't make mathematical sense, because if they get, it's a depreciated asset, you're charging me insurance on the full price of it. probably doesn't make sense. So in
Well-
my case, the math didn't make sense.
Exactly, but that's a great point. We just had somebody replace a vehicle, and I asked him to stop by so I can take a look at it because it looked like a really nice ride. Comes in, and the first thing I noticed, the rims and the tires are not stock. They must cost a fortune. And I asked him, I go, how much are those worth? He goes, oh, they're like $10,000 between the rims and the tires. And I go, they're not covered because it ain't stock. So we had to have that conversation of what it was going to cost. And in this case, he did the same thing you did, Gino. He said, "No, I don't want to insure it." Well, that's okay, but if there's a total loss, you can't get mad at me or the insurance carrier because we try to explain it to you.
Something as simple as people are getting their cars wrapped these days. Well, it's a $4,000 investment to get your car wrapped. And if you got your car wrapped, you probably have nice rims and tires. So it wouldn't be unheard of to have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in upgrades on a regular vehicle these days.
Even people that use that do Uber on the weekends, they need a special rider to make sure that they're protected because any type of business use
right?
is excluded under your personal auto. And this is something we run around all the time. A gardener that does it only on the weekends, well, if he's not being rated for business, the carrier can exclude that claim, can deny the claim.
Hey, did you hear that, babe? I need to stop doing construction around the house. I might not be covered.
Nice try.
I think her phone's off right now.
These last couple of weekends, all I've done is replace appliances.
Hopefully you're paying attention out there. That there's a common theme here is you don't know what you don't know if you're just looking for price or just going online. We see the same thing when people coming into home loans. They're like, oh, Quicken Loans told me this. I'm like, there's so many other options for you.
It's almost the same. He asked about the deck page, Don. We always ask for your latest mortgage statement whenever we're going to do a refinance analysis. Right. And we had to make that decision because most people are used to, they make a phone call, they get a quote. Well, that quote's going to be 9 times out of 10 incorrect. The quick answer is probably a bad.
They don't know any details about your
no
particular
details. They're
scenario.
guessing. Client says, "Hey, I'm paying 4.125." Okay, well, they didn't say that they've been in the loan for 7 years. They didn't say that they have mortgage insurance. Also, they don't remember those things that on a loan they got 7 years ago.
Well, it's really important. I don't know about your industry. I would imagine it's the same thing. But in our industry, there's a lot of policies out there. There's a lot of policies that are grandfathered in, and there's endorsements that follow every year, and somebody needs to read that. So do yourself a favor. Regardless of who you're insured with, it doesn't matter. Call your agent. Have them go over the policy with you. Have them explain. What kind of questions do you have? Write them down and then call them up and say, hey, am I covered for this?
Well,
am I not?
And I bet if you were smart too, I guarantee you'd be glad to look at anybody's policy and see if it's proper for what their needs are, right?
We would do it absolutely free of charge, and we would be happy to do that.
Okay, I suggest you all that you can't lose. There's no way you're going to lose. Either you'll feel better about the one you have because Carlos is really good about going, hey, you're good.
And quite honestly, Carlos, I referred one of my best friends to you. He sent you like 7 policies, and you ended up telling him, you're good.
I did, and I remember that.
Yep.
And very rare, though. In most cases, 9 out of 10, you're helping our clients. You do a great job for them, and you're like, hey, I like Carlos, and he did bring up some points that the other insurance carrier didn't. And he actually saved me money because he was more creative with it.
Correct. Sometimes we can do that.
Right.
Sometimes you might have the right policy, the right situation. You're perfect where you're at, and we'll walk away. Unless you want to pay me more money, and then we're happy to, take you on.
So reach out to Carlos. Carlos, what are the best ways to get a hold of you, buddy?
Best way is here in Santa Clarita. It's 255-8282, or you can send me an email at carlostheinsurance@gmail.com.
I want to leave it with this. I do want to interrupt real quick, Don, because if you want an insurance advisor rather than an insurance company, and there is a difference.
Huge difference.
You can call and talk to Carlos anytime you want. I can't tell you from the lender side what it's like to call 1-800-INSURANCE. It's horrible. So if you need an insurance advisor and you want someone in your corner, Carlos is your guy.
Thank you for being our guy.
Thank you for having
Personally,
me.
and taking care of our family. Hopefully, you call Carlos so he can take care of your family. We know you'll be glad you did. Thank you for always being part of our show, Carlos,
Thank you for having me again. It was a pleasure, like always.
and taking care of us and being part of America's Professional Resource Group. Again, aprgi.com. Carlos, we want you back, buddy. You always give us great information.
Invite me, and I'll be here.
All right. Thanks for your friendship.
Have a
and
great day, guys.
All of you, thank you for joining our show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Check us out at donandgino.com, and have a great weekend. And remember, be good humans.